I'm sure we have a whole of.
Okay, I think we are on our recording. I'm Julie Spencer. This is E. Everly. You want to say hi?
Hi, this
Hi,
is E.
okay.
Everly.
We were trying to go live on Facebook, but instead we are going to have to post a video. We're both just not technological savvy. Is that what the word for it is? Technologically savvy. So we're going to post this on my YouTube channel and share it on Facebook so everybody can see it. But one of the reasons we're getting on here is because we wrote a couple of books together. So E. Everly, would you like to explain to everybody what these two books are?
I think you got this idea while we were down at a writer's retreat in the Outer Banks. That was just last October.
It was October. Yep.
Yeah. And Julie's like, hey, I think we should write a book about being down here at the Outer Banks. And so it kind of snowballed from there. We both took characters from an existing series that we had. Julie, what was the name of your series called?
My series is called The Royal Family Saga.
Yes, and
it's like my Crown Prince series. So
yeah.
Yeah. So that's my series.
And actually mine wasn't an existing series until I started writing this book. I had the original novel, or the first novel is a novel proposal. And so I took a side character from there, and then I made the novel love series. So this would be
the second book in there. It became,
yeah, this is the second book now. So now I do have a series.
And so you don't keep paperback copies usually at your house, right? So you don't have
a
copy of.
I don't.
I wish I did. I have a lot of your books, but not that one.
Oh, you mean of a novel proposal?
Yes.
I do, but it's not within arm's reach.
Oh, okay.
And it's a very old cover. So
it's not even the new cover. That's okay. So the first book, tell us a little bit about the first book, because it's really cool. There's something special about the novel proposal. It's called novel proposal. Is that correct?
A novel proposal. It's kind of written backwards. The tear apart happens in the beginning, and it's from, I'd have to say it is dual point of view, guys and girls, but the majority of the romance is told through his point of view. And what he does is he hides their love story inside of the main character's manuscript, because he's an editor and she works for him, and she submitted a project for him to edit. And so when he gives it back to her, he hides their love story within the pages of her manuscript. So we see her reaction as she finds these pages that he stuck within her work in progress. So her reactions happen at like the start of the chapters, and then you have his story told in his words. And then at the end of the novel, it all comes together. It's all live, where they get back together and that sort of thing.
Cool. Now, when you describe it, you said that the tear apart happens at the beginning. Some people watching this may not know what you're talking about there. Can you kind of tell what you mean by tear apart?
About 3/4 of the way through most romance novels, there's a big event where, first the couples, their relationship is building up the whole time. And then all of a sudden they reach kind of like a huge hiccup. And so they call that a tear apart. They separate for some period of time or stop talking to each other.
So basically they break up. They kind of break up. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess I just call it a tear apart. You could call it a breakup. Yeah.
Yeah. Doesn't matter. I just want to make sure if anybody's watching this that's not like an author or really super knowledgeable about the different parts of a story structure and outline. Sometimes we authors use jargon that is not necessarily understandable, like meet cute. Most people are like, what the heck's a meet cute? But for us authors, basically a meet cute is when both of the main love interests are on the page at the same time. So in the book at the same time.
And they meet for the first, it could be meeting for the second time, but it's the meeting that's significant to the story.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I mean, I started writing before I even heard of a meet cute,
Me
because
too.
I also write fantasy as well. And so you didn't really have meet cutes in some fantasy. So, and now I write some romance. I write a little bit of everything. As long as it has romance,
Yeah,
I write it.
I
So it
love
could
your
be,
stories.
yeah.
I have loved E.E. Everly's stories longer than, no, you were published before I met you, but you were only publishing like your third or fourth book at the time that I met you. And I was like, this is
Really?
the best author ever. I'm like your biggest fan. I don't know. You might argue there's some people on my list here of people whose names are in the drawing that you mentioned or your super biggest fan. So when we get to that, you can tell us a little bit about that person or people. We're going to do the live drawing, but I want to just back up a little bit because she talked about her book, but I didn't talk about Senator's Son. Now it's kind of funny because we don't usually talk about like his and hers because we wrote them together at the same time. So it kind of feels like we both wrote two books, even though technically we published them under our other series. And since on Amazon, and these are available on Barnes and Noble, Kobo, and Apple Books, there's a couple others. These are available in lots of places, but on Amazon, they will only allow a book in one series at a time. So technically, we can't put both books in both series. So mine is in my Royal Family Saga series, and hers is in her a novel love series. So this character, Mateo Cohen, is one of the side characters in my big Royal Family Saga series. In fact, Prince Marcos's Prince Marcos's wife, love interest in the book, is Mateo's twin sister. So we meet Mateo very, very briefly in this series, but he doesn't really have a love story. So now this is about 5 years later when he's graduated college and he's an adult, and his father, Senator Alejandro Cohen, who is mentioned quite a bit in my series, so this is his son, and he is a senator, and he's up for re-election. And Mateo has been asked to be his assistant. What's the manager? What's the campaign manager? So he's campaign manager. He just recently graduated college. He does not feel like he's good enough for that position, smart enough, but he's handling it as best he can. He has tons of stress on his shoulders. And so the day after the primaries, the senator says, get out of Washington, D.C. You need to get a week off, get away, because I need you healthy, mentally ready for the main general elections. I need you to get out of here. So he kicks him out of Washington. So that's like page one. And he goes to the Outer Banks, thinking he's just going on a little vacation. And he meets Molly like the minute he gets there. So like in the lobby, they're both checking in at the same time. And they're looking at each other going, ooh, you are kind of hot, but I'm not going to talk to you because I'm really nervous. And it turns out there's also a reporter there who followed him from Washington. And Molly is not interested in being in the spotlight. And Mateo can't avoid the spotlight because he's senator's son and he's campaign manager and blah, blah, blah. So that becomes a source of contention within them. So we've got these two really cool characters, and E.E. Everly eventually might write a love story for one of the side characters. So we're kind of excited about that, but we'll kind of tell you about that another day. Anyway, there's all these other characters that are just really integral in helping solve the mystery. But basically, the mystery really has nothing to do with their love story. So the actual romance between the two of them is the romance novel, but the mystery is this really cool side story because Molly is there to find a missing manuscript. And it's technically, she's trying to find a missing author because she works for a publishing company. There you go. She works for a publishing company. The author hasn't like gotten back with them in a long time. And so she's looking for this mysterious author. I will give you the spoiler alert that they do find the author later in the book. And there's a really valid reason why she hasn't gotten the manuscript to them, but I won't tell you that either. Because you got to solve the mystery. So anyway, so they fall in love, and then just about the time that they're about ready to leave the Outer Banks and go home, he's going home to Washington, D.C. Where is Molly going again? Pennsylvania?
Philadelphia.
Philadelphia.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's where
so
the small press publishing company that she works for is, in Philadelphia.
in Philadelphia. Okay, so they know that they're leaving each other, but Molly realizes that everything that Mateo does is in the spotlight, and she's terrified to, not necessarily terrified to be in the spotlight. She's terrified to ruin his life. Is that kind of correct? Like she's
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
this crazy wild girl, and she's afraid.
She gets a lot of thoughts in her head that are irrational.
There you go, irrational. So she breaks up with him like super suddenly, and he's like, what the heck happened? I have no idea. And she won't return his calls. She won't return his texts. He has no idea how to get a hold of her. But the reporter that is with him, following him around, he kind of makes a deal with him and says, hey, buddy, you want a mutually beneficial exclusive? I'll give you the exclusive on our romance if you will write it in a way that she gets to see it. So throughout the book on Molly's side, you're seeing the articles as they come out. It's basically newspaper articles, but they go on social media mostly, not really in a physical newspaper. I mean, they do print in physical newspaper too, but the newspaper articles don't happen till the end of this book. So you don't see them until later. So if you really want the full immersion of the whole story, you've totally got to read both books. And we have made it so that all the dialogue matches up perfectly. So all the scenes match up perfectly. So if you're reading it, it's going to be like totally cohesive between the two stories, except that you're going to get Molly's perspective and you're going to get Mateo's perspective, which is totally cool. With that in mind, we had a drawing this month. We had a contest. There were lots of things on my website that people could do to put their name in the drawing. And I have a whole bunch of names here, and I'm just going to go through them really quickly and tell you that you're going to be in the drawing. And I have a hat, Central Michigan University hat, because that's where I went to college. So I've got all these names in here, and I'm just going to go through them individually and tell you a little bit about them, and then we're going to do the drawing live. So some of them didn't really have a name. It's just an initial. I don't know if you can see that. AMF, can you see that? Please,
Yes, sorry.
Okay. Okay. So he or she is in the drawing. I don't know who she is. Another one, RKH. I don't know who that is, but you're in the drawing. Bonnie Dillabow. Am I pronouncing? I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but thank you for being in the drawing. Brenda Mosier. Thank you. Edwina Brown. Okay, I gotta stop for a second. Edwina is one of my #1 fans. She has, in fact, I have 413 emails that I've sent her over the years that she's been one of my fans. And of those 413 emails, she has opened 100% of them. And
Wow.
she has clicked on like 350 of them. So this girl loves me, Edwina. And she's entered contests in the past, and I've sent her signed copies of my books before. And I'm just going to give a little secret right now. Even if Edwina doesn't win the ultimate prize of the 2 signed copies, I'm still sending you a copy of signed paperback, just because you're my #1 fan. Another one of my #1 fans is Sally Pomerantz. And Sally is not just one of my #1 reader fans. She's like a mom to me. In fact, she actually came with me to the birth of my last 2 children. And she's in her 80s now. So if I had any more babies, which I don't, because I'm like in menopause now, if I had any more babies, she would be there with me. But Sally, thank you for being such a wonderful person in my life. Now, you had somebody on your list also, and I've got their name here. Let me know who their name one is, if you can think of it off the top of your head.
Pamela
Reinhardt?
Yeah.
Okay, Pamela Reinhardt has been a #1 fan of E.E. Everly. Do you want to tell us a little bit about her?
Over the past few weeks, she's sent me emails every single time she reviews one of my novels. I'm pretty sure she's read every single one of my novels, whether it's fantasy or contemporary romance. But she always leaves a little happy little note, and her name has these little swirlies around it.
Aw.
And she's a very, I don't know where she finds the time, but she reads a lot. So I think she's a lot of people's super fans. So, and I'm really grateful for her because she always leaves amazing reviews. So thank you, Pamela.
That's nice. Thank you, Pamela. Your name is in the drawing actually quite a few times. Some people entered the drawing with lots of different things. So those of you, I'm mentioning your name once, but some of you are in there like 10 times. Lorraine Walker. That is another, Lorraine is somebody who has been one of my #1 fans also. So Carol King, Ellen Hogan. I almost knocked my books aside. Oops. Okay, I'm going to butcher this name. I'm sorry. Vida. I'm going to pronounce it Vida Lee Syke. If I pronounced that wrong, I apologize. Love your girlfriend. Jen Gower. Jacqueline Good. Jackie Tansky. I'm going to pronounce this wrong. Lourdes Nunez. I don't know what your last name or how you pronounce first name, especially. Leanne Arave. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. Deb Schmidt. Molly Hamlin. Beth Cheatham. Hopefully you guys can see these names. Can you see them?
I can see them.
Okay. Tiffany Townsend. Your name's in there a bunch of times too, I believe. I'm going to butcher this name too. Di or D Ketchup. Rose.
Must be an alias.
Must be Rose Helg. Marianne K. Nicole Lamb.
And I should say, Julie, that Marianne and Jackie have also read quite a few of my novels too and left some nice reviews as well.
Awesome.
So thank you.
Yeah. Jeanette Morrison. Then I have one of you. Okay, this, I'm not sure if this is two people or the same person, but one of you emailed me and one emailed E. Everly. So it is Chrissy CX and Kristen Cox. And I'm guessing that that's the same person, but if not, I apologize. You're both there. Barbara Toby, you're in the names in there like a bunch of times too. You did a whole bunch.
Yes.
Thank you for all of your support. And then the last one is Taya Peck. And actually, Taya and I have known each other for quite a while also because we used to be in a critique group together. She's another author. So, okay, here's my hat. I'm just dumping everybody together so that hopefully I don't see anybody. And then I'm going to hold it up high enough that nobody can see. Drum roll, please. Pamela Reinhardt.
Oh, yay.
Yay. Okay, so
She definitely
Pamela
deserves a signed copy.
Oh, wonderful.
Yay.
Okay,
Well,
so
I have the signed
I was
copies.
gonna say.
So yeah, since Julie's in Michigan and I'm in Maryland, so she signed the copies first and then sent them to me, and then I signed them, and then so I will send them on to Pamela. So we will be contacting you for your address at some point.
Wonderful. I hope you
Thank
guys
you.
enjoyed this video. I'm sorry we weren't able to go live on Facebook. I will post this on Facebook as quickly as I can get it prepared and onto my YouTube channel also. So we are going back to the Outer Banks in October again, right?
Yes.
For another writing retreat.
We'll get some more ideas.
Yeah. And we will try to do some more videos while we're there and kind of go around and show some of the locations that we mention in the book, because tell us the
Try not to
town.
be so camera shy.
Tell us about the town where we stay, because you know more about it than I do.
About Corolla.
Yes.
So we learned that it's not Corolla, even though it's spelled that way. We stayed in the town of Corolla in the Outer Banks. And if you are a local, that's how you pronounce it, Corolla.
But and what's
it's
the name of the inn that they stay at in the book? And because I think we changed the name just slightly so that it wasn't.
I think it's the Lighthouse Inn, right?
Lighthouse Inn.
It's based off a real inn.
Yeah.
But it's a made up name.
Okay.
So a lot of the things that we wrote about in the stories, Julie and I actually kind of experienced, and we tweaked them a little bit to fit the stories. For instance, there will be a scene with spiders that actually
Oh, God.
happened to Julie and I.
Oh, it was so terrifying, you guys.
There are so many orb weaver spiders down in the Outer Banks in the fall, and they all come out at night, and they are just hanging from like doorways and railings and tree branches above benches when
So
you're
we're sitting
trying.
on this bench and we're just enjoying the sunset, and all of a sudden there's just kind of this swaying above us. I'm like, what the heck is that? There are like tons of spiders
They
like
started just
right
like
there.
descending from the branches. They were just, I don't know. It was really creepy. We kind of left.
Yeah, and in the book, like Mateo especially freaks out like a little, like screaming like a little girl. And the reason that we could write that scene so well is because one or both of us was screaming like a little girl when we got attacked by those spiders. So we knew how that felt. So
Yeah.
anyway, on that note, if you ever want to see like if you go to Google Maps and try to find that location and just kind of wander around there and maybe like, book a vacation to go there. It's so cool. It's the most beautiful location. So if you do that, I want to hear about it.
Yeah, especially in the beginning of October, the water is still just a little bit warm. We were able to get in one day, and so it was nice. And there's no crowds when it's out of season, so it was very nice. And we
In
climbed the
season would be
lighthouse.
summer, is that correct?
Yeah, goes till about September 30th usually, I think.
Okay.
And then after that, the beaches are empty. So
Okay. So yeah, so if you're going right now up through September, this is the main season. You'll see lots of cool people on the beach and meet lots of cool people. Maybe find some romance like Molly and Mateo did. Wink,
Yeah.
wink, nod, nod. Okay, so we're gonna go off of our video now because we could just talk forever, and I want to post this for you guys to see. So again, congratulations, Pamela Reinhardt. We will get your signed copies of the books into the mail, and you can buy them. They're brand new now. They're as of today.
Just released today. Yes.
May 24th, 2022. These are now available for purchase on Amazon and Rakuten Kobo and Barnes and Noble and not
Apple.
Google Play. I didn't put it on Google
Apple.
Play yet. Apple. And there's a few others. Overdrive, I believe it's available.
Probably.
Yeah. So there's a couple others. I can't Script. Is that what them? Anyway, there are lots of them. But if you go to authorjuliespencer.com or find us on Facebook, we will be able to get the links to you for all these wonderful books. And we'll see you next time we do a live video.
Bye.
Okay. Bye.